So today we're reviewing the Pixel Watch. It was not too long ago that Google bought Fitbit, and we've been waiting for a Pixel Watch to hit the market. They did it, and they did it with a design that's a lot different than your Galaxy watches out there, and obviously it looks very different from the Apple Watch. I will say this is a 41mm watch, so a bit too small for my wrist, but for those of you out there who like smaller watches, are probably gonna really love this design. And the cool thing about it is the design is so simple and iconic to a regular smartwatch that if you were to take these bands on and off and place something a bit more classy, you could literally dress this up perfectly. You try to do that with an Apple Watch, it just looks like an Apple Watch. It has a very distinct design that doesn't really speak classy, but more of a sporty look. I would want a bigger version of this. Like, I can't wait, and I hope they release a 45mm version of this watch because I think that would look much better on bigger wrists. Now, the one thing that's super genius about this design is the way you take bands on and off. Like, there's this little button here, right? And all you do is push it down and then slide the band towards your finger and it pops off instantly. And when you place it back on, all you do is slide the band back on over the little button where you pushed before, and then it just snaps right back in. Apple's version was genius, but this is even more genius. Now, I will say during this entire review, I wore an Apple Watch on one hand and the Pixel Watch on the other hand. The reason why I did this is because I wanted to get the most accurate results. In fact, if you want to see how it looks compared to an Apple Watch, I'm going to place a bunch of smartwatches on my wrist right now so you can see the difference in terms of the design. I also have a Galaxy watch here. This is the 44mm Galaxy Watch 4. And I also have the Apple Watch Ultra I'm gonna place on, which is 49mm. Right now, I am literally losing circulation to my arm. I might not make it through this video. Okay, so we have Pixel Watch over here, 41mm, okay? We have your Galaxy Watch 4. This is 44mm. You have your Apple Watch Ultra, 49mm, and then this is the Apple Watch Series 7, which is 45mm. So again, I like the 44 to 45mm range. This is if you got like jacked biceps and want something really big on your wrist. Battery life has been as good as the Apple Watch. If you have always on display on, then you're getting about a full day's use. But I don't use always on display. I've never liked it. So I end up with a day and a half before needing to charge. In fact, I wore the Apple Watch and the Google Pixel Watch to bed to see if it was accurate in terms of sleep tracking. I actually think the sleep tracking is more accurate on my Pixel Watch. I had more REM sleep with this device. It got my timing in terms of waking up and going to bed a lot more accurately. In fact, I think the squared off design of the Apple Watch Ultra is kind of a negative to it because it doesn't go flush around your wrist like the circular design. Like, this just hits your wrist so much better. And I just found that I got more accurate results because of it. Now, there's a massive Fitbit integration involved with this. They did buy Fitbit after all. And when you buy this watch, you get a 6-month premium upgrade to Fitbit. So you can still use Google Fit, but most of the stuff you're gonna see is gonna be under your Fitbit application. That's where you're gonna track your steps. That's where you're gonna see your workouts. That's where you're gonna track your sleep. It has all the same workouts as the Apple Watch. In fact, there's actually a weightlifting workout, which the Apple Watch does not have. There's like a functional training version of it, but I'm so happy to see an actual weightlifting version. And in terms of actual steps, I was getting a bit more steps on the Pixel Watch compared to the Apple Watch. It wasn't a massive difference, but sometimes it was a few hundred. So there is a little bit of variation between these sensors. So right now you're listening to the Pixel Watch. This is the microphone on the Pixel Watch. It's now recording my voice. And now you're listening to the Apple Watch. You guys let me know which one has the better microphone quality. Now, I really dig the UI. I think it's very simple to use. If you swipe up from the bottom, you get all of your notifications. If you swipe left or right, you'll get your tiles. These tiles are certain parts of applications that you want quick access to, which you can set up on your Android device. Doesn't matter which Android device you use, as long as it's running Android 8.0 and up, this Pixel Watch will work with it. But you go into the Pixel Watch app and you can add as many tiles as you want. If you swipe down, you get your quick settings menu, which will give you access to airplane mode, do not disturb, or your Google Wallet. And if you swipe to the right, you also get tiles again. Now, there's 2 buttons on this. You have your crown, which you can rotate up and down, and that will allow you to quickly scroll through your menu, or you can just use your finger. And if you press the button above it, that will gain access to your most recent applications. If you want to see all your applications, you just press the crown in, and then you'll get access to all your applications on your watch. Now, there was one weird thing. Like, for example, when you set up the watch, it detects what apps you have installed on your phone. So it knew I had Spotify, but it doesn't automatically install Spotify on your watch. With the Apple Watch, there's an option in the app to install it, but there's not with the Pixel Watch. If you want to use Spotify on your watch, you have to go into the Google Play Store again on your watch and then install the app separately. So it does require an extra step. Now, the one thing that really does bother me is the bezel. Like, you don't really see it when you're staring at the apps on your watch just because all of them are created to have a black background, so it blends in with the bezel, but you really do notice it once you start pressing on the screen, especially when you're typing in your PIN to log on to your watch or even typing a message. It just removes a lot of that screen real estate, and I hope they can thin them out in the future or just give us a bigger version of this watch. Now, the processor inside of here is last year's Exynos 9110 processor. It's fine, right? It's fast enough, but it's definitely not nearly as snappy as the SoC that Apple's using in their Apple Watch. There's moments where like I'll press on an application and then you have like this slow moment before the app loads up, right? It's not terrible, it's not gonna ruin your experience, but you can notice it sometimes when you load up applications. Now, this watch is water resistant up to 50 meters, but with most electronical devices, I don't suggest swimming with this watch. If you do every once in a blue moon, it's not a big deal. Don't take it into salt water. You shouldn't be taking any electronics into salt water, but if you sweat on this, if you're caught in the rain, if you accidentally take a shower with it on, it's gonna be fine. I will say I did enjoy using this watch. I find that the software experience is good. It just needs a lot more applications. I feel like the processor could be a little bit snappier, and I would love a design with less bezel or just a bigger option in general. I still think it has a long way to go to catch up to the Apple Watch, but it's a very good start, and the distance between those two is gonna really come down to time and experience. I will say that the app selection right now is enough for all the stuff you'd want, like all the health apps, voice recorders, whatever you want is on there. But if you want that extra step, I still think there's just more on the Apple ecosystem. I will say this though, okay? I will say this though. It's really hard to recommend a Fitbit right now because this has all the features of a Fitbit. You have the EKG, you have the blood oxygen leveling, you have all that stuff, plus an actual smartwatch. So if you've been thinking about buying a Fitbit, I'd probably just get this instead, unless you want a Fitbit that just gives you way more battery life and you don't care about the smartwatch features. Now, what does it look like for the future of Samsung devices? Well, right now, Samsung is also using Wear OS, and I think for a lot of people out there, it's gonna come down to style and preference, right? I personally think this Galaxy Watch fits my wrist better, but I do like the design of the Pixel Watch. I just wish it was a bit bigger. Anyways, that wraps up my review of the Pixel Watch. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.